Did you know that 70% of women don't recognize they're having a heart attack until it's too late? Unlike men, women's symptoms are often mistaken for stress or indigestion. They ignore these signs, sometimes even having a heart attack in their sleep and never waking up. To prevent this, you need to understand heart disease. But that's not always easy. Most people aren't experts in this area. So we've compiled 10 early warning signs of a heart attack in women, based on information from the American Heart Association, in a simple, easy-to-understand way. These 10 signs can help you and your loved ones prepare for a sudden heart attack. After age 60, many women experience prolonged fatigue without a clear reason. This is often dismissed as a normal part of aging. However, it can be a silent warning from your heart. Many women think a few extra days of rest will fix it. But even with enough sleep, avoiding strenuous activity, and eating well, you might still feel exhausted, short of breath, and low on energy. This is when you need to listen to your body more seriously. In many cases, women don't experience the intense chest pain that men do when they have heart problems. Instead, they feel a gradual decline in energy without knowing why. One medical center in the western U.S. reported many female patients hospitalized for prolonged fatigue. Initially, they thought it was due to weather changes or lack of sleep. But after a few tests, many were diagnosed with early-stage heart failure or a minor heart attack they hadn't noticed. The problem is, unexplained fatigue is often downplayed. It doesn't cause specific pain or have obvious symptoms, so it's easily overlooked. That's why searches for early signs of heart disease in women or fatigue heart attack symptoms are so common on YouTube. Because when the real pain hits, it might be too late. So how do you differentiate normal fatigue from a sign of heart disease? Pay attention to the nature and timing. Feeling tired after a busy day is normal. But if you feel exhausted even after adequate rest and minimal activity, that could be a warning sign. Heart-related fatigue is often accompanied by other signs like mild shortness of breath, palpitations, or a heavy feeling even with light exertion. Some older women report they no longer have the energy for housework or walks, despite no lifestyle changes. This is when you should get your heart checked. Also, if fatigue affects your daily routine, such as canceling appointments or losing interest in usual activities, take it seriously. Simple heart tests can detect problems early. However, fatigue is just one of many signs. Next, we'll explore another subtle but common symptom, seemingly harmless shortness of breath. Mild shortness of breath during simple activities is a sign many middle-aged people, especially women over 60, downplay. It's easily confused with age-related decline or poor fitness. Margaret, a 62-year-old from Ohio, said that even climbing a few stairs in her house left her breathless. Initially, she thought she just needed more exercise. But during a routine checkup, her doctor found signs of coronary artery blockage, an early warning from her heart. Not everyone who feels short of breath has heart disease. However, there are some key differences to watch for. If you're breathless after prolonged exertion, like a fast run or carrying heavy objects, that might be normal. But if you feel chest tightness and breathlessness after slow walking, changing clothes, climbing a few stairs, mopping the floor, or standing for a long time in the kitchen, that's a sign not to ignore, especially if it's recurring and accompanied by deep-seated fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. Importantly, in older adults, especially women, heart disease often doesn't present with obvious chest pain, but rather with vague symptoms like fatigue, mild shortness of breath, and loss of energy during daily activities. This leads many to miss the golden opportunity for early treatment. If you or a loved one are experiencing something similar to Margaret, schedule an appointment with a cardiologist, because a delay of a few weeks could mean a lifetime of risk. If shortness of breath can be mistaken for aging, what about nausea, bloating, or indigestion-like feelings? Next, let's look closer at seemingly harmless signs that could be warnings from your heart. Margaret, a 67-year-old woman from Ohio, thought she had mild indigestion after eating an egg salad. She felt nauseous, slightly bloated in her upper abdomen, and generally uncomfortable. Probably just something I ate, she thought, and took some antacids. But a few hours later, she was hospitalized for an irregular heartbeat. It turned out she was having a heart attack. No one thinks a heart attack could masquerade as indigestion, but it happens to thousands of women over 60 every year. In men, a heart attack often presents as sharp chest pain. But in women, it can start very subtly, like bloating, nausea, loss of appetite, or heartburn. Many are complacent. It's just indigestion. But if the feeling isn't related to food, lasts more than a few hours, or is accompanied by dizziness, sweating, or exhaustion, you should be cautious, especially if you have a history of high blood pressure, diabetes, or high cholesterol. Many people wonder, is this my stomach or my heart? And only a doctor can truly answer that. Don't guess, because delays can cost you your heart. So, beyond digestive issues, what other unexpected signs are there? The next section will help you identify one of the quietest but most dangerous signals. Many people think a heart attack means chest pain, but the reality, especially in women over 60, is that the heart often sends misleading signals. This could be a dull ache in the shoulder, neck pain, jaw discomfort, or persistent back pain of unknown origin. These aches are easily mistaken for muscle strain, poor posture, or degeneration, resulting in heart disease signs being overlooked. Helen, 64 years old, once felt pain in the back of her neck while washing her hair. She thought it was just a stiff neck. The pain then spread to her shoulder and down her back. No chest tightness, no nausea, just discomfort. By the fourth day, when the pain hadn't gone away and was keeping her awake, her family took her to the doctor. It turned out to be heart muscle ischemia. A day later, and the outcome could have been very different. So, if you or a loved one have unexplained pain in your back, neck, shoulder, or jaw, especially if it's persistent or recurring, think about your heart. Sometimes these unusual signals are the earliest and only warning before a silent heart attack. In their 60s and beyond, many women consider sweating normal due to age, weather, or stress. But if cold sweats appear suddenly without a clear reason like heat or strenuous activity, it could be a silent signal that your heart is in danger. Linda, 66, recalls a trip to the supermarket as a warning moment. She suddenly felt ice cold, sweating profusely as if she'd just run a marathon, yet she was standing still in the produce aisle. No chest pain, no dizziness, just a feeling that something wasn't right. An hour later, she collapsed on her way home and was diagnosed with a silent heart attack. Cold sweats are the body's response to circulatory problems. If it occurs along with fatigue, back pain, shortness of breath, or nausea, don't ignore it, because when the heart doesn't pump enough blood, the body sends a distress signal, and cold sweats are one of those signs. When it comes to heart attacks, people usually think of intense chest pain, but sometimes the heart doesn't cry out that way. It sends subtler signals, like nameless anxiety, an uneasy feeling that's hard to articulate. A large study from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute showed that nearly 44% of women who had heart attacks experienced unusual anxiety in the hours or days before the event. Many didn't have chronic anxiety disorders, nor did they have a specific reason to feel uneasy, yet they felt something wasn't right. Scientists believe this is how the nervous system responds to myocardial ischemia, a condition where blood flow is insufficient, but not enough to cause noticeable pain. The heart and brain are so closely linked that sometimes your intuition senses something before you can recognize it through physical symptoms. You might feel a faster heartbeat without exertion, difficulty sleeping, restlessness, a feeling that something bad is going to happen, or causeless anxiety, as if awaiting something terrible. Unfortunately, many people, especially middle-aged and older women, assume they're just too sensitive or worrying too much. They ignore what they should be paying attention to. If these negative emotions occur simultaneously with mild physical symptoms like fatigue, back pain, nausea, or cold sweats, don't hesitate. Get your heart checked immediately. Your heart might be trying to tell you something. Don't let it have to scream in desperation to be heard. A fleeting, dizzy spell. A moment where you feel like the ground is tilting, your head light. Or worse, you stand up and lose consciousness for a few seconds. Most of us tend to think, it must be low blood sugar, or I just didn't get enough sleep. But according to the American Heart Association, AHA, symptoms like dizziness, lightheadedness, or fainting can be early signs of a heart attack, especially in women over 55. In a survey of over 1,000 female patients hospitalized for heart disease, nearly 27% reported experiencing lightheadedness, loss of balance, or fainting in the 72 hours before their actual heart attack. Why is this? When the heart weakens or experiences ischemia, insufficient blood supply, it can't pump blood to the brain efficiently. The brain lacks oxygen, and the result is disorientation, dizziness, lightheadedness, or even fainting. This is an important warning sign, not to be taken lightly. The worry is that this symptom is often mistaken for other common problems such as low blood pressure, low blood sugar, dehydration, or stress. Complacency causes many to miss the golden opportunity for early intervention. And, if not diagnosed promptly, a heart attack can strike at any time. This time, not a mild lightheadedness, but a serious life-threatening event. Our advice: if you suddenly feel unusually dizzy, especially when sitting down or standing up, get your heart checked, especially if you're over 50 and have risk factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, or a family history of heart disease. Do you think a heart attack always involves intense, crushing chest pain or immediate collapse? Actually, what kills many women isn't the intensity of the pain, but how subtle it is. Helen, 67 years old, living in Ohio, is an example. That afternoon, while cooking, she felt a mild tightness in her chest, like someone had placed a brick on her sternum. Not sharp, not intense pressure, just a dull ache with a slight burning sensation. She thought it might be from spicy food or stress from the past few days, and continued her work as usual. That evening, the tightness persisted. When she lay down, it spread to her upper back and neck, but nothing alarming, in the way many people envision a heart attack, and so she didn't tell anyone. The next morning, she was rushed to the emergency room with an acute heart attack. The doctor said that if she'd waited a few more hours, her heart might have stopped. According to the American Heart Association, women often experience different symptoms than men, especially with chest pain. Not sharp, stabbing pain, but a feeling of heaviness, mild pressure, burning, or dull discomfort. sometimes even like heartburn or mild indigestion. Because of this, many women ignore this unusual symptom and lose their chance at survival. Do you think insomnia is just a matter of age, psychology, or simply using your phone before bed? That's true to some extent, but it's not the whole story. A study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association showed that middle-aged and older women who experience frequent insomnia have a 38% higher risk of heart disease than those who sleep regularly, even if they don't smoke, aren't obese, and have no history of heart problems. Why is this? When the heart starts working inefficiently, due to narrowed coronary arteries, high blood pressure, or mild heart failure, the amount of blood to the brain and vital organs decreases. The body doesn't clearly sense the deficiency, but reacts by activating the sympathetic nervous system. The heart beats faster, the mind is more alert, and you enter a state of vigilance. The result is that you're in bed, but your mind can't rest. Many women report unexplained insomnia for weeks, and just days later, they're hospitalized for a heart attack. The unfortunate truth is that if insomnia is considered an early warning symptom, they could have had their heart checked sooner. If you frequently lose sleep 3 to 4 nights a week for several weeks, don't ignore it. See your doctor, get your heart rate, blood pressure, and cholesterol levels checked. You're sitting quietly on the couch, no worries, no running, no coffee, but your heart is racing as if it's about to miss a train. Many women call it an unusual thumping heart, causeless palpitations, or uneasy feeling in the chest, and often they reassure themselves, it's probably just me overthinking. Maybe I'm just a little stressed today. That's what Connie, 66, thought. She felt her heart racing like a drum whenever she woke up in the middle of the night, even if nothing unusual happened during the day. Her doctor told her she was just mildly anxious, nothing to worry about. But a few weeks later, she was hospitalized for an unexpected heart attack without any traditional warning signs. What many people don't know is, an irregular heartbeat, even fleeting, can be the first whisper of an overloaded heart. A heart, when working inefficiently, due to narrowed blood vessels or fluctuating blood pressure, has to strain to pump blood to the body, and you'll feel it in the quietest moments. You don't have to wait until you collapse for it to be a sign. Just listen for those strange beats, and don't ignore them. The heart doesn't always announce itself with intense chest pain. Sometimes it whispers through vague signs: poor sleep, mild fatigue, back pain, or shortness of breath. Don't dismiss them as just aging. Pay attention to the small changes. They may be the last whispers before the heart stops silently. If any sign in this video makes you think of your mother, your wife, or yourself, take it seriously. Thank you for watching. Continue to join us in future videos, where you'll find more helpful information on preventing heart disease, post-60 healthcare, and small changes that can lead to a healthier, happier life. See you in our next video.